Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, may I get to know your name and your responsibility at this conference?
My name is Lazaki and I work for Palladium on the SCALE project that is providing the funding and technical support to the cluster that is holding this conference.
Oh, that's great. This is referred to as a one-day high-level meeting. Why do you think it's a high-level meeting? What makes it a high-level meeting?
Yeah, basically because the people you find in the room are some of the high-level decision makers in the ministries of agriculture, budget and planning in the 6 southwest states, as well as the CSOs who are working on the inclusive agriculture. So it's a meeting of persons that are capable of reaching decisions on behalf of their respective institutions. That's why it's dubbed high level.
Yeah, okay. And what's the essence of this meeting? The essence, and what does it intend to achieve? What's going to be the breakdown of what it takes? What is going to contribute to society, to the people involved?
So the work that the cluster, our partner, the inclusive agriculture, is seeking to achieve is inclusive agriculture, where they want the southwest states to be able to all have an inclusive agricultural policy that brings both persons with disability and women into the discussion on food production. They also are asking for the creation of the agro-women budget line, which will go a long way to supporting the women in agriculture to be able to scale their productions and also take some significant steps towards processing. So the conversation here today will fast track the conversation, the process of having all the 6 southwest states come up with an inclusive agricultural policy, create a budget line for agro women, and see the performances of these budget lines, which will ultimately lead to increased food production, which will address hunger.
How would you assess the agricultural policies in Nigeria? You're talking about reforms now. How would you assess the present agricultural policies in Nigeria?
I think we may not be lacking on policies. Maybe what we may need is an update, a review and update of some of these policies. What I will want to focus on more is the budgets. The budgets are not performing. The budgets are not adequate. On the minimum, the budget for agriculture should be 10%. Most states, including the federal government, have a less than 10% budget on agriculture. In addition to that, even when it's not up to 10%, the budget releases are also very, very low. And so agriculture, as it were, is not getting the right input and drive that it should get. So a simple way around it is to see to it that there is a significant improvement around budget releases and an increment of the budget to at least 10%.
Yeah. And in what ways do you suggest that women and agriculture can be further helped in Nigeria? What are the roles of expected roles of government for women in agriculture?
So currently what you find is these women are using crude tools and machinery to conduct their farming businesses. There is almost a zero investment around processing. So if government leads the support of improved farm inputs and locally developed machinery that is helping to scale production for these women, and then investments around processing, then you would see that the agro value chain will significantly get a boost in revenue, and that will in turn make these women to grow by themselves organically. I think that's what government needs to do.
Okay, but why is this limited to the southwest? Are there intentions for the future to extend this to other states of Nigeria?
So on the SCALE project, we are mostly testing some of these models. Our partner, the Inclusive Agriculture Cluster, for instance, decided to pilot this phase of the project in Southwest, which we can't push them to do more because we want them to perfect the process. But the intention, the overall goal is to see how that can be scaled up to the entire country. But first, we need to perfect the process on a small scale before we will attempt to scale it. So yes, the cluster is within its right to be able to scale up as soon as they are able to be absolutely comfortable with the model as they are tested within the Southwest region.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, may I know your responsibilities at this event and your name?
My name is Franklin Oloniju.
All right.
So what basically we are doing here is facilitating a process under a project that is supported by Palladium Scale, which is funded by USAID for a Southwest project that we are doing by the Inclusive Agricultural Cluster. Basically, it's a project that focuses on creating space that will support smallholder women farmers in the Southwest. So we're looking at how the Southwest states can start to look at more policies, agri policies that is diversity. That enjoys diversity, which take care of a lot of interest, that is inclusive and gender sensitive. Issues around caring for persons with disability who are farmers are often not part of our policy document. So most times they are left out of that support services. And so coming up with that policies within our environment is to us is key for inclusion. Also looking at dedicated, localized and institutionalized budget line that are state-owned that can drive empowerment of smallholder women farmers also within the region is to us critical. And so we have permanent secretaries, we have directors, we have cluster members, we have NGOs around here to have a roundtable discussion on how to move the process forward. Don't you also forget that Dawn Commission, who is the development arm of the Southwest state, is also part of the drivers of this meeting. The agenda is to ensure that we have robust policy within the Southwest that caters for that is more inclusive and dedicated budget line for small women farmers in the region.
Oh, that's good. Why would you refer to it as a high? Is it we call it a high-level meeting?
Yes. You see, the high level, it's not until you have ministers and commissioners.
All right.
That's it's only high level, because when you have directors, you have permanent secretaries who are also heads of departments, heads of MDAs, who can shape policy for the development of the sector, and also through that process ensure the buy-in of the higher stakeholders such as the commissioners and the rest, because they are supposed to shape policy for them to append their support to. And so when you have that kind of people at a meeting deliberating on issue, for us I think it's a high-level meeting, because results that come out from that kind of meeting definitely get to the decisions that ends to be taken at that level, gets to be implemented.
Now, how can you be suggestive on sustaining agriculture policy reforms in Nigeria? What are those things that you think are not enough, not done well?
So agriculture policy ordinarily should be, is fluid. It should be a fluid process, because advances in time of science helps to shape new development when it comes to agriculture. Science is bringing a lot of things. Technology is being introduced. The way we used to do farming 2 years ago It's not the way we do farming presently. And the next 6 months, you should be sure that new advances, new technology will have emerged that will have even improved. And so it's a fluid process that needs to be guided, And if you're not careful in a system where everybody is not equal, you find that there are certain people that will be left behind in that process because either as a result of how literate they were, now financial wherewithal. So the policy helps to make sure that everybody is captured because policies oftentimes are institutionalized. So because they are institutionalized, they are mandatory sometimes for government to implement it the way they are supposed to be implemented. And the essence is that when these policies are done, they're also backed up with budgetary allocation. And with that, you find that those that also have been left behind are captured, or that have been captured are also able to benefit within the policy framework as it's being implemented.
Now, on women in agriculture, do you think that everything that's being done or about to be done will actually lead to some kind of elevation for the standards of women in agriculture in Nigeria?
So there's a difference between women in agriculture and agro-women budget line for empowerment. Now, women in agriculture has been a system for a long time within the Ministry of under the ATP. But what we have as agro-women is the initiative of states as a direct response to women, smallholder women farmers in the area of empowerment. You find that whether government support or government does not support, women, smallholder women farmers goes to their farm, produces. But what we have discovered is that though they produce, they've not been able to add enough value to their produce. And so it's a response by individual states to now say, okay, we are going to be supporting you, we are going to be empowering you to add value to whatever you're doing. Understand? So it's a different initiative to specifically address and cater for smallholder women farmers who are at the last level of the, but who secure food, who are also critical to food security. Understand? So that's different. So by doing that, by supporting them, you are securing the future of the region and making sure that people have things to eat. Now, when you look at the whole process of this kind of women, people that are into vegetable planting, people that are into small, but these are and they're heads of household sometimes. So what it does is that it increases the household income, change their livelihood, and reduce poverty on the long run. So those are the kind of that's what the agro-women budget line that states are creating is doing specifically.
Okay, so that makes it different from the so-called women in agriculture. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, please may I know your name and your responsibilities at this conference?
My name is
All right.
I'm the head of special projects of the Dawn Commission. Dawn is the development agenda for Western Nigeria Commission, and I'm baptizing for the DG here.
Okay. And at this event, what is the Dawn Commission actually doing?
The Commission is partner of the organizers. We are the sort of like facilitators. We brought the states together, which is part of our mandate. And we are like the convergence platform for all the 6 states of Southwest Nigeria. So we brought them here together, to advocate deepen discussions on including women in budgeting line and promoting women in agriculture. It's one of the things we've been working on the country for a couple of years now. We notice that 70% of farmers in Nigeria are women, especially in the Southwest as well. So we are in partnership with LAPDO, the Scale Program, and USAID, of course, to deepen the conversation and make sure that the state governments improve women in terms of their fiscal policies and optimize women in the agricultural value chain.
Why do you refer to it as a high-level meeting?
Because we have senior civil servants here, we have permanent secretaries here, we have directors here, You have the key executives, the ministers of agriculture, in the 6 states of Southwest Nigeria. The governors of the Canadian team, the skill team is also here, and LAPTO is here. So it's a high-level meeting, because you have high-level executives in the public sector here.
How would you rate the agricultural policy reforms in Nigeria? Would you say they are good enough?
Well, the problem is this, and it's a dilemma as I mentioned here. We have so many treaties that we've signed into. For instance, the Maputo Treaty that says the 7% should go into agriculture. But then again, you have other treaties as well saying that money should go into education, money should go into development, money should go into health. So balancing that act can be a bit difficult, but we can do more for agriculture. Even at the federal level, the allocation for agriculture is pretty low. So in the southwest states of Nigeria as well, we are not at that level yet. And agriculture is the mainstay of the economy of the region. Most of the entrepreneurs, most of the economic sector, the DNA is the agricultural sector. And so we need to fund it more, we need to bring in more women, we need to include more women, we need to scale up the activities of women. We need to be able to empower them so they can access agricultural inputs like segments, land, so they can play across the value chain, so to speak. And once you build the women, you build a nation. It's actually true.
That's it.
So that's why we're here.
Yeah, the 5 states, the southwest states, are they supposed to pilot states? Are this project supposed to move on to other states of Nigeria at a later time?
The way we work at the Dawn Commission is we try to create the conversations here, and hopefully we can be replicated in other parts of the country. Of course, there's funding for agriculture. We have other international donor agencies funding agriculture, but we have to be deliberate about that which speaks to the women field. It has to be deliberate thinking, deliberate planning, and deliberate actions for the women. So we want to create that specificity for funding and budget provision for women and agriculture. We have the agri-women group here as well. They are in different states of the southeast as well. So it's like a block, where creating a sort of focus in the public sector for women in agriculture.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
May I know your name and your designation and why you are at this conference?
My name is Ediji Grace Bukola. I'm from Ondo State, the coordinator of Agri-Women Initiative in Ondo State.
That's good. Yeah, I'm going to be specific concerning women with you. How would you assess at this moment the role of government in encouraging women in agriculture in Nigeria?
Yeah,
Has it been good enough?
in fact, yes. But what we need to do is to intensify more effort so that the money being budgeted for Agri-Women Initiative budget line is released. When we talk in terms of release and timely release, we are facing problems about that one. It has not been released, and the little one that is released at times will not be timely. But we thank the government that at least they still remember us, and we thank the government for even putting this agro-women budget line in the budget of agriculture. The only thing is to assess it, and under this we are talking about processing and storage facilities, not production alone, because if we produce at large quantity, we will sell at lower rates, and this will make little or no profit to us. So we need storage facilities and processing machines so that we will add value to what we are doing, and this will increase our income as farmers.
How would you generally? How would you rate the agriculture policy reforms in Nigeria? Is it good enough?
Well, you know, agriculture policy reform. Different government with different policy in agriculture. So what we need is continuity. We need continuity in agriculture reform policy, and we want the policy to stay, and we want the policy to be gender responsive.
And you are from Ondo State, and
yes.
Of course, Ondo State is about the most agrarian state in this gathering. What are those things that make Ondo State tick agriculturally that you think?
In Ondo State we have different cash crops like cocoa, like palm oil, like cola nuts, and other things like that. And we are still into food production. So this has brought Ondo into limelight. And we have one program now with Action Aid Nigeria, in which Ondo State is one of the 5 states being selected to participate in the training. That is PAC West Africa. It's dealing with agroecology and climate justice. So we are part of it, and we thought that maybe it was through this Agro Women Initiative budget line created in the Ondo State budget that was giving us the privilege to be part of those states.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, relating still to women and then linking it with people living with disabilities, do you think that in Ondo State specifically, what's the state doing to encourage people living with disabilities to be able to practice agriculture very well?
Well, they involve them in training too, because in the training meetings they were invited, they were involved. So they were encouraged so that they will not see themselves as if they are useless, and people should not see them as beggars. So agriculture provides employment opportunity for people, irrespective of your physical status, whether disability or you are strong. So they are being encouraged, and we will still encourage them. We will still push for people with disability so that they will fall fully in agriculture, either in production or marketing or whatever sector they like.
Thank you very much, ma'am. God bless you.